there are only like running wheels and guide wheels. There are no upstop wheels. So technically you could fly off the rails if it was open. Good morning, everybody. Today I want to tell you a story about little Morgan, but I mean when I was even littler than I am now. Little Morgan grew up outside of St. Paul, Minnesota in a sort of smallish feeling town. And even at a very young age, little Morgan was obsessed with amusement parks. I had been to our local amusement park, Valley Fair. I had been to the state fair. I had been to a small little amusement area of a local zoo. And that was my extent of experiences with amusement parks up until a certain age, until like 6th grade when we took our first trip to Florida. I don't know exactly what it was about amusement parks that I became so obsessed with as a little kid, but
I was obsessed.
Even before I had ever ridden my first major roller coaster, I was obsessed with roller coasters, amusement park, rides, anything similar to that form of entertainment. Fascinated. And you have to remember, back then in the 80s, we didn't have the internet like we have nowadays. If you wanted information about something, if you wanted to learn more about something, you went to the library and you checked out books. These are like these stacks of paper with things printed on them. Google it. And so little Morgan, he had this small local library with like maybe that many books about amusement parks and rides and stuff like that. And one of those books was about the history of Ferris wheels. I checked out each one of these like 5 or 6 books so many times and read them from front to back. I knew what was coming on the next page. I knew so much about everything that was in them, and especially this Ferris wheel book was so fascinating to me because I had only ever seen, I think, one Ferris wheel in my life, and that was a Ferris wheel at Valley Fair, and that was a relatively small Ferris wheel as far as Ferris wheels go. This story's getting really long, don't worry, we're getting to the point. The main, like, big subject of this book was a really odd-looking construction, which was not only the oldest operating Ferris wheel, but also the tallest Ferris wheel
in the world.
And it was in a place called the Prater in Vienna, Austria. Wherever that was, little Morgan had no clue. I knew it was far away, I knew it was in a different country, and I knew I would never get to see it in real life. But it didn't stop me from reading about it over and over and over. I remember it was over 200 feet tall, and there had been wheels in similar nature built that were taller, but those were all torn down in the meantime. And for so many years, this special wheel, which actually was not called a Ferris wheel because the guy named Ferris who built the first of these kind of wheels, oh, the sirens are just getting on my nerves. So this technically didn't count as a Ferris wheel because it was built before Mr. Ferris built his first wheel. And this Ferris wheel at the Prater in Austria had gigantic cars that you could have like a party in. You could have like a dinner table in there and have your schnitzel inside. And like I said, I was fascinated by it, and little Morgan never thought that he would get the chance to go see it. But there it is. I'm getting so emotional. It's really not that big of a deal. I've been to so many other amusement parks now and other places that have been very special to me, but I don't know. I'm not sad. I'm really happy. I guess I just feel very connected to my inner child at the moment, and makes me happy and sad, but in a good way somehow. Anyways, let's go get a closer look. Little bit closer now. Look at, actually the way you pronounce the name of this fair is Prater, not Prater. But little Morgan didn't know that. And here's one of the main entrances. And this isn't an amusement park. It's really like a fair, but it runs year around, and you pay for each ride individually, and each ride is run by like a different family or a different company. And there are just very few places like this in the world that are open year-round. There it is, and it's moving. And one of the things I remember from the book is originally it had 30 cars, and now it only has 15. And I can't remember the exact reason for that, but I could make one up. There it is, right through there. And here is the entrance, and it looks like they've created sort of a museum type situation in there, which I think is great. I got my ticket, it cost 12 euros for adults, and they have all sorts of combi ticket possibilities for other things here at the Prater too. For things like Madame Tussauds, and they also have a miniature train, and then there's also a zoo. So you can combine your tickets to get more fun for your money. I don't want more fun, I just want to go on the big wheel. So this museum here has nothing to do with the big wheel. This looks like some kind of war. The troops are moving in. These gentlemen are hard at work building a church. That guy's drinking. There's always one. Speaking of wars, this is apparently what it looked like around here. Oh, the lights just went on. This is what it looked like around here after a certain war. There was this guy from Austria. He had some crazy ideas. Let's move on. These people are riding in a carriage and the thing backwards. Well, all right. And then there's a little train. This is cute. And there it is. That's what it looked like when it had all 30 gondolas on it. And there used to be also sort of a shoot splashdown ride here, I guess. It's kind of like the Coney Island of Austria, actually. It used to be way more amazing than it is now. So, I did it. I don't know how to feel about it now. It's weird, you know, it's like, sometimes people say, you know, you should never meet your heroes, and sometimes it's better to have dreams that never get fulfilled because it can never live up to the expectations that you've had, especially if it's been something that you know, been looking forward to for so long. And I wouldn't say that like this is something that I thought about every day and I thought, you know, oh, if I could just someday ever get there. It's not really like that. It's just more about how many times I looked at this thing as a kid and just never imagined that I would ever go there. And now I'm here. There it is, up there. And I did it. And now, oh, good morning, roller coaster. Yes, I'm coming. Just wait. These roller coasters are so impatient. Now, I'm gonna go check out everything else there is to do here. There's this roller coaster, but it's not running yet. And then there's this roller coaster, but there's somebody crawling on the track, so that's not running yet either. There is a log flume ride, and it's also not open yet, and oh my gosh, what is that guy doing? Indoor roller coaster, bumper cars, a rafting ride, another roller coaster, another Ferris wheel. This guy, this roller coaster, this odd looking roller coaster, which I've heard from my roller coaster fan community is really awful. And that one is too. I'd skip them. There's that free fall tower, and I think that's a gigantic swing ride, and none of it is open yet. I'm just way too early, I guess. 11:30 on a weekday at the Prater, it's not the time to come. But that will give me time to just sort of walk around here and check it all out, and maybe get something to drink. Never mind.
All my thoughts are running around inside my head. Emotions keep coming, they're keeping me from thinking straight. Thought it would be different.
All right, since none of the rides are open yet, I guess it's time to have lunch. And One of the most famous places to eat in the Prater is the Schweizer Haus. The Schweizer Haus has every kind of Austrian food you can imagine, from Wiener Schnitzel to every kind of sausage, all that kind of stuff. And they serve Budweiser, but it's the original Budweiser from Czechoslovakia and not American Budweiser. Let's go inside. I guess one of the most famous things to eat here is pork shoulder. So you can get like a huge chunk of pork with the bone still in it, and you never know exactly how much it's gonna cost because you pay by the weight. And I'm gonna try to get a picture of one coming out here. There's nobody coming out now, but for all the people who complain that I never show any meat, there's some right there. It's just past noon here. Well, actually it just turned noon. And I got a table pretty easily, but people are coming in. I'm sure it will get crowded, although a lot of the tables are wet because it's raining. I'm under a great big umbrella, as you can see. And I would say 98% of the people I can see here right now are all men. So this is like the place where older gentlemen go, I guess, to have their lunch and have their beers, because everybody's got a beer on the table. Speaking of the beer, they have a special assembly line here that they use to get it from the tap, so it has that perfect foamy head on top of it. It's hard to see through the window here, but I bet I can go around the corner and there's no window. It starts here, and it goes through all that process before they can serve it. I'm a little worried about having a beer and then going on the ride, so I got something that's also very Austrian, Baumdudler, which is, oh geez, I don't know, let's call it, it's like an Austrian kind of Sprite. It's made with Austrian herbs and spices, and it is non-alcoholic. And my food came really quickly, so we have some potato fritters with extra garlic on top. These are Spinatknöckel, which are basically like Austrian gnocchi with a little bit of cheese melted on top. Oh yes. And then I got a small salad as well. The garlicky potato fritters are so crunchy and so garlicky, but listen. And the Spinatknöckel, it's okay. If I could improve it somehow, I would say they cooked the nuggets a little bit too long. It's all just kind of really mushy, and it would be better if they were a little bit more al dente, but the flavor is good. You know, you put enough cream and cheese on just about anything and it will taste good. Yum. The bird mafia has showed up. These two guys came walking in here and they're like, give me a snack and nobody gets hurt. Leaving the Schweizer Haus behind me, and I can still feel the garlic burning on my tongue, and I love it. And I also heard the sounds of motors motoring and people screaming, so I think there are some things open, and gonna see what I can see. If I only ride one roller coaster here, I want to ride the old traditional wooden coaster. It was built in the 50s and was built in the old school style, so it has a brakeman who rides, a brakeman or a woman person who rides. Wait a second, let me start again. There's a person riding in the train who can control the speed of the... There's a person riding in the train who has a lever, which is like the brakes for the ride. And I think there's only 2 or 3 roller coasters left in the entire world that still use this kind of technology. And yeah, it's also very historically significant, and so if I only ride one roller coaster, I want to do that one. And what a surprise, it's closed. I wonder if it's just not open yet, or if they will not be opening. There's no information here whatsoever, and it's just closed. There you can see the really old school kind of track too, and what I mean is there are only like running wheels and guide wheels. There are no upstop wheels. So technically you could fly off the rails if it was open. They also have one of the few remaining like original made out of wood helter-skelter slides. You know, these things are legendary. And it's also closed, of course, but it's here. And I mean, the weather's being cute. It's sprinkling, but it's really just a light sprinkle. Other amusement parks would never close their rides in this like mini amount of rain. But I think here, because it's not pay one price, because each attraction is, you know, run by a different company, like I said, or a different family, I think they just decide it's not about it being not safe because of the little bit of sprinkling. I think they're just assuming there's gonna be so few people here that it just doesn't make sense to, you know, to pay their employees to work that day, so they just don't open. The Mega Blitz roller coaster, a big bowl of spaghetti of roller coaster track there, is also closed. Dang it. Well, I just saw this roller coaster running, so maybe they'll take my money. Well, that was a lot of fun. The cars are themed kind of like race cars like this, and they have those exhaust pipes at the front. And before you go up the lift hill, it stops inside and there's a small audio animatronic figure, and then smoke comes out of the pipes before you go up the lift hill. So that was really cute. It felt kind of like a mix of a traditional steel coaster and a Wild Mouse because of the crazy turns, and the ride cost €5. It's a late night cocktail cam. It's actually past midnight, and that is the latest I've been up so far on this cruise, but it's only the second night, so goals, you know, there's still a lot of room for improvement. And I guess I could be kind of disappointed about not getting to ride the Hochschaubahn, the old traditional wooden coaster at the Prater today. I did actually get on 3 of the other coasters in a little break in the rain, but you know, getting to ride the big wheel and sort of completing that journey was just so cool and so important, I guess, in a way that it really doesn't matter. And you know, actually Vienna is only like a 7-hour train ride away, and it's actually it's a short flight too, so if I really want to, I can go back. And I definitely would love to go back to Vienna, because from what I saw yesterday and today, even though it was raining the whole time, it looks pretty cool and definitely worth going back to. And something interesting happened tonight at dinner. You know, I'm eating in the main dining room. That's the only possibility. And I'm sitting at a table with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strangers. And, you know, a lot of small talk and talking about what we did in our days and things that have happened to us on other travels. And one of the guys at the table tonight, well, the waiters came around like with a tray of different schnapps from the countries around, and there was like, you know, like a peach schnapps and a blackberry schnapps and like every kind you could imagine. And one of the guys at the table decided to buy one, and then he opened it, and we sat there at the table, the 6 of us, and we drank that entire bottle of schnapps. And I think I only had 3 or 4, you know, like little shots of it, and everybody else at the table probably had 7 or 8. And, you know, funny thing is, the 4th shot of that schnapps tasted way better than the first one. Isn't it weird how that works? And then in the end, we all ended up going to like the club on the ship, which is also, yeah, doubles as the theater and the meeting room. So the front bar area of the ship. And there's a musician on board who has one of these like Korg, you know, solo entertainer keyboards with built-in rhythm and stuff like that. But he was actually DJing and not singing. And there were people on the dance floor. There were people shouting and having fun. And it's a big change over our first night on board, because the first night on board, there was also sort of a mandatory information meeting that we went to. And geez, I was like,
these people are old and boring.
But totally changed my opinion tonight. There was a lot of fun energy there. And one of the guys from my table, actually the guy who bought the schnapps, said that, yeah, you know, seems like people are getting used to this atmosphere and they're letting their guard down a little bit and having a good time. And yeah, it was a really cool energy and a lot of fun. And I don't know, maybe my whole table is still sitting there right now, but I just decided after a certain point, it's not going to get any better. And if I stay and have another drink, it may even get worse. So now I'm in bed, and tomorrow we arrive in Budapest around, I think, 12:30, 1 in the afternoon. I'm going to the famous Széchenyi thermal baths to do some swimming, go in the sauna, get a massage, and I'm going to try to show you what it's like. So if you want to see, you know, that side of Budapest, the famous thermal baths, then make sure you're subscribed and make sure you check back for the next video, because that's what it's going to be about. And now at, what is it, like 12:30, I'm going to bed here on the Rousse Prestige from Plan Tours, my very first river cruise. See you next time.